Welcome everybody to our ISNCT interviews. Today we will meet two young researchers of the BNCT community who got their PhD in the last year. Let's go to know them.
Well, I'm Maria Pedrosa. I'm from Spain. And now, currently, I'm doing a postdoc in France in the National Research Center about medical physics and about BNCT.
Hello, my name is Naonori and I'm from Japan. I'm currently working as a clinical medical physicist at the Kansai BNCT Medical Center, which is located in the Osaka Medical and Pharmaceutical University.
Hello, Maria. Hello, Naonori. Where did you get your PhD?
Well, I got officially my PhD in Spain, in the University of Granada, but 2 years of this PhD, I did it in France, in the National and International Research Center, but officially in the University of Granada.
Yes, I received my PhD at Kyoto University in Japan, at the Department of Nuclear Engineering.
Can you summarize the subject of your PhD in 20 seconds?
Well, that's a bit difficult, but I'll try. Well, my PhD was a revision of the biological effect, the estimation in BNCT. So we performed some experiment in a nuclear reactor, try to know better what neutrons does in the body. And this data and this revision, the main idea was to estimate better the damage in the BNCT patients.
My PhD research was investigating a dosimetric quality assurance, quality control method for BNCT by using experimental microdosimetry, which is a method that's commonly used to determine radiation qualities in a mixed radiation environment, such as gamma and neutron irradiation field.
How did the word BNCT sound in your mind the first time you have heard about it?
Well, this is hard to remember, but what I remember is the beginning was difficult to memorize it, to repeat it. But once I learned the meaning of it and how important is each of the words in this acronym, the boron, the neutron, the capture and therapy, that all of them are very important, then it's impossible to forget it, I think.
Yes, so the first time that I heard the word BNCT was when I was an undergraduate student, and the professor at the time asked the whole entire class that if anyone can come up with a method to discriminate between neutrons and gamma rays using a single radiation detector, that he will give us full marks for the next exam. And we actually had no idea what he was talking about. But then he explained the theory of BNCT, and it sounded very like an amazing treatment where only cancer cells are destroyed and the surrounding healthy tissues are spared. So yeah, it was a very mind-blowing experience when I heard BNCT.
Why did you start working on BNCT?
Well, I wanted to do research, and I liked medical physics. So basically, I went around the university trying to find a project. I was an undergraduate student back then. And I went around the uni, tried to find a professor that was doing something interesting. And I reached Ignacio Porras, and he was very enthusiastic, telling me about BNCT. It sounded, as Naonori said, it sounded mind-blowing. I loved the way he was explaining to me what he was telling. I was amazed that this exists. And this enthusiasm was very contagious, and it kept going until today.
Yes, so for me, very similar to Maria, I wanted to seek more opportunities in research. It wasn't actually until when I was 28 when I started working with BNCT. Before that, I was a clinical physicist in conventional radiotherapy, so looking at high energy photons. So after I worked several years in the clinic, I wanted to seek for a research path. And when I looked around and I researched into different fields, I came across BNCT, and it was a very interesting field. And so that's why I decided to work in BNCT.
What would you suggest to young researchers who are starting or about to start with BNCT?
Well, for young researcher, I will say that the first thing and the most important thing is to go to BNCT conferences. That help a lot to know the community, to know if someone else, as Naonori said, it's difficult to find someone else that is doing something similar. So if you go to the BNCT conferences, it will help to know what they are doing, are they doing it, and also to meet the community that it's small, which is can be negative in a part that we are not a lot, but it's also positive because we know each other and we help each other a lot. And also, I think it's very important to read, if you start in BNCT, which is experimental therapy, you need to read about clinical cases, even if you are not a doctor, whatever is your research field. Read about clinical cases, read about how promising is this therapy and what it can do. It will help to encourage to keep going for the research, I think.
Yes, so for me, very similar to Maria's thoughts, is to seek out. There's a lot of information now available on BNCT, particularly on the websites and going to conferences and speaking to the experts. So if one young researcher would like to start BNCT, I guess it's really good to start there. But also, as Maria mentioned, BNCT it's not just, if you're doing a physics degree, it's not just about physics, it's also about chemistry, it's also about clinical, it's also about biology and engineering. It's a very multidisciplinary professionals working for one goal. So don't just focus on just the physics or just the biology. Try to branch out and speak with the other professionals, because they will give you a lot of ideas for BNCT. So I guess my suggestion or would be to just speak to a lot of people in different fields as well.
What would you like to find in the next Young Researchers BNCT meetings?
Well, in the Young Research BNCT meetings, I would like to see more young people. That's important, I think. It's a way to meet each other, so some social activities that allow us to know each other, that will help too. And I think it's important to have some experts, but not about giving a plenary session about what they are doing, but to give some courses to go more to the basics. I think it's the young research meeting, so it's for us to learn about things that we might not know. So I think it's important to have some courses and not only talks about current work.
Yes, the title is Young Researchers BNCT, so it's very good. It'd be very nice to see a lot of young and enthusiastic researchers gather at that meeting, and also perhaps more. Since BNCT has started clinical in Japan only at the moment, but it'd be nice for young researchers to see how exactly it's been done or been performed, the treatment and the setup, patient setup, because a lot of young researchers, they come into BNCT, but they actually don't really see the treatment side of things. So it'd be very nice if someone from that particular center be able to perhaps even do like a hands-on session on how to set up a patient or things like that, to get an overall perspective of the actual BNCT treatment. So the young research will get excited and enthusiastic, and hopefully they will expand BNCT in their countries and centers.
Do you want to say something else to people who is watching you?
Well, I think there is an important message that I would like to say. It's that, well, the last developments and the clinical trials show us that BNCT will be an important therapy that can be another option to treat cancer in the future, and in an international way, not only in Japan. And for that, it's necessary to research. Everybody knows that research is important, but one thing are words and the other thing are actions. I think we need we need to invest in science, and we need to help scientists to develop their career and their research. In some countries, like in mine, it's very difficult to settle down as a scientist. You sometimes spend more time trying to find funding than doing your own research. So that's sad, and I think it's important, and that there are a lot of promising therapies out there. BNCT is one of them, and for them to happen, it is necessary to give to the scientists the help and the support they need, or we need, to keep going with the job we love.
Yes, I don't think I have too much to add, because I very much agree with Maria. BNCT, although we have started in Japan, but we are only at the start line, and there's still a very long way to go. There are so many unknown things in BNCT in several different areas, and the only way we're going to figure out or find out those unknowns is by doing research and doing basic research in different fields, and to do that, of course, we need funding from the country, from different places, to promote and to support these researchers, and particularly the young researchers who are upcoming and want to do research, but if they don't have any funding, or if they don't have opportunities, unfortunately they end up going different areas. So as a BNCT community, I think we all need to work together, and particularly and support researchers, and hopefully we'll be able to progress BNCT even more and spread it and make it available for everyone all over the world as a standard treatment, because we all know it works, and it has amazing abilities. So we want to, as a community, push that forward, and hopefully get everyone on board.